When I walked onto the set for the first time, I think that was Shankar Beats. I was the only woman on that set.
I remember your name when I used to watch Hip Hip Hooray.
I was a kid when I made it. I was like 26.
The simple romance of two people meeting and falling in love, you're like, nahi, maza nahi aaya, aur chahiye kuch.
It boils down to just keeping it really simple, but packing in characters that you want to keep watching, season on season. And that is OTT in any case.
These four sitting next to me are responsible for the hotification of Ishan Khattar.
Yeah.
When we met him the first time, he entered the room. We just knew it had to be him because there was breeze.
She's as relevant, her social media is
Yeah.
more than anybody I know.
Yeah,
The things she's saying,
Yeah,
I'm
every
like,
day.
wow, this is a 20-year-old who's so relevant.
Thank you for Dino Moria.
A man who doesn't
That
take
for
himself
me is
seriously,
So lovely.
despite the fact that he needs to be taken seriously,
Yeah.
that's rare in the coming.
Hot men who are not arrogant.
No.
It's a rare breed.
Oh,
and we
charming
got them all.
also.
Yeah, really.
She kept calling me and messaging me to say, am I your paddy? Am I being your paddy? Have I got it
Yeah.
right?
I've been saying this for a while, which is just give me a good looking show with good looking people in good looking locations. And I think these girls heard me. So thank you so much. First of all, I just want to say it's so nice to walk into a room where there are no men.
The cameras.
This rarely ever happens. This is amazing. What have you all done? Like, how did you all achieve this?
You know,
Rongita?
no. I'm telling you, when I walked onto the set for the first time, I think that was Shankar Beats. I was the only woman on that
Yeah.
set. And it has been a journey since then. And I'm not going to say that I chased women, but there are more and more women coming into this industry.
Yeah.
It's not such a dirty word, like even when I was growing up and I told my friends I was making a movie, they were like, oh, all this nachna gachna, how do you do this? You're so sober girl. How do you do that? Do you go to Yari Road every day? I was like, it's a long drive. Yeah. So it's a cultural shift that has happened.
So
the
true.
industry has changed. I get calls now from parents, like of my closest friend is a girl called Mansi, a Gujju girl. Her daughter, Naisha, who's interested in fashion, called me and said, can I be on your set? She was on the set of the Masquerade Ball. And she's 16. She just came to see. I don't know anybody else who would send their daughter out to
Yeah.
a set at 16 when we were starting out.
Absolutely.
So I think the world is shifting around
But
us.
also-
Energies are
Yeah.
shifting
But
around
also,
us.
women hire women.
Mhm.
More women hire more women.
That's so
Abs-
true. That's
I
so
mean,
true.
I've been in a situation where the first AD of a male director said that no, I've been told not to hire anyone except for costumes in the team.
Oh, yes.
I'm like, what?
Oh my God. Yeah.
What?
Horrible.
Yeah.
And you've done this for so long. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to put an age marker on
No, that's
you.
totally fine.
But I remember your name when I used to watch Hip Hip Hooray. And for me, Nupur Asthana was one of those first female
Yes.
directors that we ever
Yes.
heard of.
Who made
So-
entertainment.
Yes. And
Not
it was
art
fun.
house.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it was fun. Kudos to that, man. It's
Thanks.
amazing.
I was a kid when I made it. I was like 26.
Yeah,
She was a
yeah,
hottie.
yeah.
Hottie, I remember
Is
her.
a hottie. Still
We
is.
met around that time for the first time.
Wow. And
Yeah.
it's been such a long and rich time because, there's a lot of stuff that's going on, right? The other day I saw it was 20 years of Hazaro Khan Jaise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a journey.
Yes.
PNC. First,
Yes.
let's give that up.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I think
Thank
it's
you.
amazing.
I mean,
it's
they made
amazing.
the best political film ever.
Ever. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you
It
made
should be
Jhankar
mandatory
Beats.
viewing for
Yeah,
students.
And then you made Jhankar Beats, which I'll never forget, which I
Yeah.
thought that deserves a re-release, by the way. I hope you're
Yes,
thinking
I
about
know,
it.
I know. I have to get to that. I have to get to that.
Yeah. And
Also, Pyar Ke Side Effects.
Oh man.
Yes.
And I remember
So good
Sabir
fun.
Mishra seeing Pyar Ke Side Effects right after we'd
Mhm.
released Hazaro and saying, Rangita, this is your calling. And look what you're
Yeah.
doing today.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
And over the last 5 years, I must say, you've given us, there are different platforms, of course, which is why, you may not want to take names or whatever, but I just want to say thank you for upholding the spirit of women, the modern Indian woman. Because I think that to me is what PNC has done over the last decade most amazingly.
Yes.
Because these are women like me and you. These are women who talk like us, they dress
Yeah.
like us, they have desires like us. And I just want to say, I'm here for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
also,
you so much.
Sophia's a lot like you.
Oh, she is.
Oh no, I
Right.
get this every time that I, think of
She
a
is.
powerful woman. It's
She
it's
is.
just I think Sophia is
Little bit of-
everybody
yeah.
is that woman that we all want to be.
Mhm,
When we
mhm,
grow up,
mhm,
she has
mhm.
balance, she has romance, she has great sex, she has,
And
a
she's
tribe of
complicated.
people, a
Yes.
tribe of people who back
That
her up,
she
and she is
commands.
complicated
Right.
and not apologetic about it
Yes.
at all.
That's amazing.
Just to be able to write female characters who are unapologetic
Yes.
Yeah.
and not an addition to, not a plus one.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think that's
an
the
entity
joy
of their
what
own.
we do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, hi guys. We're at the Royals. In case you haven't guessed, I'm Rotox. This is Just Too Filmy, and I'm thrilled with the idea of having 4 creators in a room: 2 directors, producer, creator,
Sure.
and writer. Thank you so much for joining me. I've watched the first 4 episodes, and I must say it is delicious because, as I said right in the beginning, I want to live in this world. Okay, I'm going to start by asking you a discussion that I had with one of my friends, one of my male friends, who's also writer slash does a lot of things in the movies. I said, when we were growing up, the idea of a rom-com was pretty straight. We loved it. And now everyone's asking, why aren't we able to make rom-coms? I'll tell you why. Because now, you know what they do with rom-coms? They preach, okay?
Yeah.
They sermon. They turn around and they put gyan in it. And I'm not a fan, so I can say this. Barbie was one of the, biggest examples for me because I'm like, let Barbie be. Okay. Then and then the other side of it. And what did I watch recently which had the same sort of effect? Oh, It Ends With Us. Didn't like the film, but yaar, matlab romance ko romance rehne do.
Yeah.
So here's my question to each of you. My male friend told me, he said that's because we don't know what to do with women anymore who don't need to be served, who don't need to be given something. So because that power dynamic is completely changed, we don't know how to write this anymore. We don't know how to write this genre anymore. I thought it's a great discussion to get into with the 4 of you, because was that ever a consideration or challenge? Or how did you approach the idea of writing something romantic?
Interesting. Very interesting question and an interesting take also, I feel. Thankfully, I didn't think of it at all, because I think the minute you start thinking of it, then you're like screwed. Because then you're challenging yourself and saying, oh my God, I shouldn't do that or I shouldn't do this. One just went into it with character and saying, oh, who's this person you're writing, or whether it's close to Rangita or not, or just, entrepreneurial journeys, but just women in general. And I feel like, I said this in one of the interviews earlier, the reason why I feel romance is hard to write is because it's the world we live in, where, and it's not just for screen, it's also for fiction.
Because romance is hard in real life.
No, because I feel that
because
we've
the
got
world around
us has
you
become so
is
cynical.
so complicated
Yeah.
and cynical.
It's it's cynicism. I feel like there is
Yeah.
so much cynicism
Yeah.
in the society
Yeah.
where anything simple, whether it's whichever gender, is not accepted easily because you think it needs more, it needs to be edgier, it needs to be
Yeah.
cooler, it needs to have complexity, it needs to have. But a simple romance of 2 people meeting and falling in love, you're like, nahi, maza nahi aaya, aur chahiye kuch. And everyone is feeling that, because then you want romance and crime, or romance and this, or something.
Yeah,
else
romance
happening.
is a woman because she's not enough.
I
What the hell?
Romance has become a part of
Yeah.
other genres that you're kind of embedding it underneath, and you're not giving this the main darja that it deserves, you know.
So I think that because we've suddenly, in terms of writing in the industry, we've gotten so used to write a plot kya hai? That we forget character. But rom-com ka main thing is the USP for rom-com is the character, and from there the story kind of flows. And I think that's what they've done so beautifully, because when Rangita came up with this idea, Rangita, Ishita, her sister, who's a recluse and not here today, and her dad, when they came up with this, it was about characters.
Completely.
To work. Now how you build the story around it, wo to plot aa jayega.
I'll be very honest with you. She's so bang on, because when we started writing this, all we knew is that we wanted to write a romance. That there wasn't enough of it. We wanted to watch it. We wanted to make it. And we started from that seed, and we wrote the 2 characters. We wrote those 2 characters. We wrote his family. And then we wrote the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
And that's how you'll get all the
So-
conflict now, when the characters are so strong.
And
Yeah.
I have to tell
Amazing.
you that I come from a family that is very overwhelming. And I feel we don't do enough of that on screen. So therefore the dysfunctional family, and you'll see how dysfunctional it gets, you know, by the end of it.
Yeah.
And then there's romance, what we all want in our life.
And
You know, but the
crave.
fact is that the world around us is too complicated today.
True.
The simple things, like if you still ask me what is my favorite meal, I'll say dal chawal.
Yeah.
That's it.
Of course.
But if you ask somebody,
Aloo.
everybody feel an aloo.
Aloo. I mean, come
And
on.
aloo.
Aloo
Yeah.
bharta.
Poa aloo.
Aloo
Mm.
bharta, Kolkata. But if you ask people, the question puts pressure on them to answer. What is my favorite? What will I sound cool saying? What will be inspiring, aspirational? All of that stuff comes in. Then you're just like lost because where did you start from?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know,
correct.
so I think it boils down to just keeping it really simple, but packing in characters that you want to keep watching, you know, season on season. And that is OTT in any case.
I must say that you also make our country look very good. And that's so important because
Yes.
I feel
Yeah.
like this is a chance for us to see our own country. And in
Yeah,
the way, the
100%.
gloss, and people are crazy fans of shows like White Lotus. This is our own, Pink Lotus, if you may.
It looks good.
It looks great. Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
This is the
I love the
second White
pool.
Lotus thing.
I
Yeah.
love the pool. I love the pools. And thank you for these four women. These four sitting next to me are responsible for the hotification of Ishan Khattar.
Oh.
So Ishan jo chahe bole vision, because earlier it used to happen to women where
Yeah.
they say Urmila Matondkar happened because of Ram Gopal
Yeah.
Verma.
Yeah.
And here I have these amazing women. Thank you. That's so important. And whose idea was that? Let's talk about casting choices. Ishan Khattar.
I think that you always
First,
had from
no.
the
Yeah,
very
no,
beginning.
Ishan
That
was-
this is the guy
was
for
a-
this
was a-
role.
There
This is not
was
a-
something about Ishan that
Yeah.
Ishita and I wanted to knock on.
Yeah.
When we met him the first time, he entered the room and
Hmm.
we just knew it had to be him because there was breed.
Yeah.
There's an enormous actor. And he's been looking, that smile of his can win a day, can win a year, But when he walked in that day, I just feel that there was a way that he spoke to the women in the room. I think breed, the
Pedigree, you mean?
pedigree, but also just the way with which he spoke to women.
Yeah.
Every
there's a
woman in that
inherent
room
respect.
was flawed.
Yeah. There's an
Every
inherent
woman
respect.
in that room was
Was
flawed.
flawed.
Yeah.
And something, he has charm. He
Yeah.
has,
There's
Yeah.
sweetness
And
also.
something I didn't know actually. And I think
Yeah.
that this show does that to him.
Yeah.
And I think that's lovely because, there you notice it and then you say, you know what, this is what we want on
Actually,
screen.
that's so
Yeah.
true because I remember during the trailer launch, he said something, and that's great to the three of you, that he said, I have never been mounted like this before.
Yeah.
He said that at the trailer
Yeah.
launch, and it stuck with me to say, an actor who's doing so well otherwise is saying, I've never been
So
presented like
true.
this before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of
because
cool.
when
and-
Ishan
yeah.
started, he
Tell
was
us
stick
that.
thin.
Yeah.
He had a dancer's body because he was a dancer, and he
Dancer,
came in
yeah.
as an actor. In
Yeah.
this industry, there's that typecasting, right?
Yeah.
Actor, star, actor. So he came in
Yeah.
as an actor, right? But here, when we saw him, he was star from word go, and I
Absolutely.
think that
Star
mounting,
material.
the things you will see him do here,
Yeah.
And you have
to your
half.
head, to your heart, to your
Yeah,
body,
yeah.
to
Oof.
everything. It's going to leave you wanting for more. It's
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
100%.
I do want to talk about Zeenat Aman because, she's been around for a little while and I'm never going to ask how, why.
Mm.
But I'm definitely going to ask you, how did he convince her?
He didn't.
Because nobody
Didn't have
has, managed to get her to act. So,
I
You
don't
have
think
to.
anybody's asked.
Yeah.
really?
I think
That's
what
the funny
happened
part.
is that
Yeah.
we landed up. She landed up, like I said, even at the trailer launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She landed up to read for the role, to audition for the role.
Imagine.
And,
Imagine that.
we just we knew that we wanted her from word go. So
Of course, yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
But I don't know whether people
Go
haven't
to her.
reached
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
asked her.
They just
she's
think
a social
she's in
media
access of
sensation
And I
Yes,
think
now.
no,
but
but like what Tanya said, that day was so interesting. She was like, like when that social media
Come
presence
back,
of
yeah,
her
yeah, yeah.
became big, because it was not just an actor talking about, I'm nostalgic about my past. It was an actor so into, like, she's as relevant. Her social media is
Yeah.
more than anybody I know.
Yeah,
The
right
things
now.
she's saying,
Yeah,
I'm
every
like,
day.
wow, this is a 20-year-old who's so relevant. I think
Yeah.
that kind of sparked
It's a
them.
pleasure to see her act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, as an artist, you
Yeah.
just want to do, you're playing the game.
Yeah.
It's as
And she's
simple
very
as that.
excited about
Social
it.
media सब ठीक है यार,
वो अलग
but
है.
this
Correct,
is
वो अलग
truly
चीज़ है.
doing
That is
what you
true.
want to
And
do.
she landed up knowing her lines.
Yeah.
And she loved the jewels. She loved the outfit. She loved all of it. She just owned it from word go.
The
So there was
Gen Zs
never
in
holding
my
back.
office are like, we want Zini auntie's glasses.
She has
said
a
I
bunch
asked.
of them. And
That's
There are a bunch
amazing.
of them.
Yeah.
That's
That's
amazing.
true.
Thank you for Dino Moria.
Ah, I think we have the universe to thank for
Yeah.
Dino Moria.
Yeah.
Really? I
yeah.
mean, us girls, yes, definitely in life. But for the show,
Even
He's
for the show, I
fabulous.
think.
he's
no?
so perfectly cast for
Yeah.
salad.
Absolutely.
He's
Bang
something
on.
else.
Yeah.
So good.
He's also such a joy to work
Yeah.
with. You
I
know?
must
say.
A man who doesn't
That
take
for
himself
me
seriously,
So lovely.
Yeah.
despite the fact that he needs to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
That's rare in the coming, and he's just easy to be around, easy
Yeah,
to
that was my
I'm sure
biggest-
direct.
Both him and Milan, I
Super.
think they have just so
Yeah.
easy. They'll do whatever you ask them to do. They're just there to,
Make it better for
Make
you.
it better.
Hot men who are not arrogant.
No,
It's a rare breed.
Oh, what the hell?
And we
Chunky
got them
also.
all.
Yeah, really. My
And
God.
Chunky sir, like, I mean, so easy to work with.
We
Yeah,
had
but
all of
Chunky
them.
Pandey, like, thank
Yeah.
you. Like, I just think
Mm-hmm.
that the show has such a wide spectrum. But I do want to ask you about Sakshi,
Yes.
simply because I think Sakshi Tanwar has never been in
Yeah.
this place.
Yes.
And I think she's enjoyed it.
She has
Yeah.
a lot
That's
of
good
fun.
to
from
know.
day
She's
two.
a vibe.
Till
good to
day
know.
2,
Yeah.
she kept calling me and messaging me to say, "Am I your paddy?
Hmm.
Am I being your paddy?
Oh my God.
Have I got it
Yeah,
right?"
yeah.
And this is an actor who is
Yeah.
really a wonderful actor.
Yeah.
But by day 2, she wasn't asking me; she was just owning it.
Yeah.
She would walk around normally, naturally, also like
like
that.
Paddy. Yeah.
She's, now you have to
Yeah.
take the paddy out of Sakshi.
Yeah.
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 You know,
I think
she's
what
wonderful.
I admire most about the, and this is the problem, right? Like when we make things that are entertaining, we often don't give it as much credit.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
would say that growing up, that was Govinda films. And I think if you look at Govinda films, the amazing sort of writing, okay, the amazing sort of presence,
good.
the comedy, I always thought that
I'm
they
dying
would
to
never
work
be
with him.
they would never be appreciated this way.
Yeah.
But I do want to appreciate the fact that if you just take that one track, which is that, Paddy needs to be married again. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So I think that
Yeah.
there are these reasons why. Of course, the show is glossy and it's glam and it's great and all fun and bingeable, all of this, guys. But what I'm going to say thank you to each of you for is for keeping that alive.
Yeah.
Because I think that's why we are doing what we do, so
Yeah.
that we can leave a bit of what we
Yeah.
believe in our shows.
100%.
And
Of
it's
course.
an absolute tragedy that we can't talk more because, of course, we're on a schedule. But I want to say just thank you, each of you, for bringing this to the show
Thank you.
and
Thank
for
you.
bringing the show on
Thank you.
Netflix.
Thank
Yay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.